And I think the dream as a creator is to have your own space, a place where you don't have to worry about anything. You can be as creative as you want. You can just do anything whenever you need to. And that sounds awesome, but for most of us, myself included, that's not really in the budget, at least not in the beginning. We have to make do with what we have, and for me, that meant turning my apartment, which is what you're seeing now, into my studio. I think this is the third year in a row I've said I'm going to do a room tour. I get that question every once in a while, and I always say I will, I just never get around to it. But I'm moving from this location very soon. I figured I'd go ahead and show you what I did to optimize this space for both living here, because this is where I live, and also working. The struggle for me has always been finding a place that I love for both working and living. It's pretty easy to find either or, but finding them together takes a little bit of work, and it really just depends on what your style is. For me, I love natural light. I kind of need it, especially when I'm working. It just makes me feel better. I like the way the footage looks more, and it's just something that's a must on my list. I also, of course, need space for like a desk, somewhere I can set up and work permanently, and then a place to store all of my stuff. After lots of searching, we found this place, and it's just like a typical apartment. It's one bedroom, it's got a bathroom, it's got a kitchen, it's got everything you would expect, but I turned the living room, so what you're seeing here, into my living room first, and a place where I can shoot. You don't really need a lot of space to build out your set and your studio. This place is like 750 square feet. It's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. But you really just have to be creative and realize that what the camera sees isn't necessarily what's going on. So right here, it looks pretty nice. It's nice and clean behind me. Everything's set up pretty perfectly. But if you look behind me, I'm pressed up pretty close up into the kitchen. I'm basically sitting in the kitchen right now, and then you're looking back. That's one of the best ways I've found to get awesome looking shots in the place that you live. Don't be afraid to really push yourself into places that you wouldn't normally want to shoot, but looking the other way will actually look quite good. Okay, real quick before we continue, I want to thank this video's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is one of my favorite places to go online to learn new things. It's an online community for creators with over 25,000 classes in design, video production, photography, business, pretty much anything you can think of. So if you're like me and you love learning new things or, just honing your skills, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep you learning and thriving through 2019. Now what's great is that Skillshare is actually affordable. So an annual subscription is less than $10 a month, and these premium memberships give you access to any class that you want so you can join and start learning. But even better, anyone who uses my link down in the description will get a free 2-month trial. So really, there is no reason not to try it. Join the more than 7 million creators already learning with Skillshare, and again, that link is down in the description. Now, as for my personal setup, what I've done here, it really comes down to like two things. It's things I want in a living room that's functional, and also some compromises that let me still work. For instance, my couch. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with how it looks. It films well, it photographs well, all that's great, but I kind of had to sacrifice in the sense that it's not very comfortable, it's not very big. It gets the job done. I've been using it for 2 years. It still looks good as new pretty much, but it's definitely a compromise. And that kind of goes for a lot of these things. Now by the window, I have my desk setup. It has changed a little bit, but it's pretty similar to what I've had since I moved in. I'll leave a link down below in the description to a tour of this entire setup. So if you're wondering like what the actual desk is and all that, that is all there. But what has changed is I'm kind of all in a laptop setup now, so I just dock it in from work, and then I start working on this BenQ monitor. It's all raised up. Then my desk transitions from the workstation over to the kind of gear storage and filming section. This is where I keep my cameras when I'm not filming, and this is where I kind of do a lot of my B-roll and set up stuff for Instagram. I use this section a lot. It's nice to have a dedicated space, and this desk setup works really well for that. I have my section for working, and I have my section for filming. And like I said, I'll link all the stuff that I'm using down below in the description, so if there's one of these little knickknacks you like, check down there. Now what you normally don't see in videos is all the storage that's next to the desk. This is where I keep my lights, my C-stands, my tripods. This is where all of that lives. This is one of the other compromises that you just have to do when you have a home studio. You have to keep this stuff somewhere, and in order for it to just be the most efficient, I keep it stacked here. It doesn't look that pretty, but it means I can just grab it and go, and it just makes it more efficient. I don't like it, but it's just how it is. Now moving over to the TV setup. This is actually the least used thing in this entire place. We don't really sit and watch TV all that often, and when we do, it's just like for one episode of something and then we go on and do something else. But I have it set up here. It sits here pretty much like this all the time. Nothing really moves from it. I have my Xbox One S, I have the PS4, I have the Apple TV, which is what I use mainly for media consumption when I am using it. Then I have the controllers for those systems. Then I have my Nintendo Switch, which honestly I should probably sell. I'm not kidding you, this thing has been dead for all of 2019. I used to play it a lot, and I'm sure when a new game comes out I'll pick it up again, but it's rarely used. The TV itself is a Vizio TV. It's a 4K TV I picked up probably like 4 years ago now. It was like $500 at the time. It works, it gets the job done. There's really nothing fancy about it. I don't even remember the model number. I think it was the E series. It's 50 inches, and honestly, all I really care about is that it looks good in the backgrounds of these videos, and that's very easy to do. Now in the center of the room is another place I kind of had to get creative, and that's with the coffee table. Kind of is something that you need. It's very useful. You can put, your drinks on it or little snacks or whatever you're doing in the living room. But it's also, I found, the thing that gets in the way the most if you're using your living room as kind of a studio. But this one I found on Amazon, and it is great. It's this walnut finish that matches all the other furniture I already had, which is great, but I can fold it up and put it aside whenever I need it out of the way. So it's very compact, it's great for smaller spaces, and there's a lot of different furniture like this out there that you can find that kind of serve two purposes. I use this coffee table as a top-down texture all the time, and you wouldn't know that it's sitting on top of my desk behind me, and that's because I can fold it and just place it on top. So finding these kind of pieces that work in multiple ways are really beneficial when you're living and working out of the same space. But really, that's all of my setup. From the living room on is where it's pretty much a production-ready place. Everything else is just a normal apartment. Now, I do have some tips if you're looking to start working out of your own place. First thing is, if you have 2 bedrooms, that would be a godsend. We're actually moving very soon, and one of the musts is that I have a second bedroom that I can just dedicate to doing anything that I want. Like I said at the beginning, having that dedicated space would just come in handy, so I can finally just have a normal living room again. And also, don't be afraid to sacrifice comfort and convenience if it's something that you love. I love creating these videos. I love the way this looks, so it's worth it for me that my couch is really uncomfortable. So find those things that you can kind of live without for now that make your work today even better. But it's been a great 2 years on this set. We're not quite done yet, but we're moving soon, and we'll finally see something new.